If f of x is a one-to-one function, either naturally or by restriction of its domain, its inverse is also a function over the domain of f of x. Inverse functions are denoted by f to the power of -1 of x. So for example, f of x equals x cubed is a one-to-one function, so it'll have an inverse function. Its inverse function may be expressed as f to the power of -1 of x equals the cube root of x. Now note that f to the power of -1 of x is not the same as f of x to the power of -1. This means reciprocal. So in other words, f to the power of -1 of x is not the same as 1 over f of x. One means inverse, the other one means reciprocal, and they're very different. Now f to the power of -1 of f of x is equal to x for all x in the domain of f of x, and f of f to the power of -1 of x is equal to x for all x in the domain of f to the power of -1 of x, or the inverse function of x. Now, f to the power of -1 of f of x and f of f to the power of -1 of x are examples of identity functions, since the output equals the input for all x in their domains. So that's what we mean by an identity. So what you end with is the same as what you started off with. Now, to find an inverse function for f of x, we convert to the y equals notation first and then follow the procedure for finding the inverse function.